Hello friends, welcome to Read With Me. Today we will be continuing Mercy Watson, Princess in Disguise. This is part 2. The author is Kate DiCamillo and it is illustrated by Chris Van dUSEN. Let's go over what happened in part 1 so we can catch up with part 2. So it is Halloween and Mrs. Watson wants Mercy to dress up for Halloween. She makes her a princess costume. They all go to the Lincoln sisters' house and Eugenia will not give Mercy treats. So Baby secretly gives her a treat, but Mercy spills the candy bowl. So let's start there. Chapter 8. Oink, said Mercy. She snuffled the floor. There was a lot of candy. There was a lot of candy everywhere. Candy was not toast, but it would have to do. Mercy munched a lollipop. She ate a lemon drop. Look, the lemon drop was sour. She chewed a caramel. That caramel is sticky. "What is going on in here?" shouted Eugenia. "Why is the candy on the floor? And what is that pig doing in my kitchen?" "She's not a pig," said Mr. Watson. "She's a princess." Mercy crunched a butter barrel. Thought Mercy. Butter. At least Mercy is getting some butter. Her favorite thing. Chapter 9. "Get out of my kitchen immediately," screamed Eugenia Lincoln. "Well," said Mr. Watson, "I think it might be time for us to skedaddle." "Yes, indeed," said Mrs. Watson. "We still have quite a lot of trick-or-treating to do. Come along, Mercy." Mercy was eating her second butter barrel. It was delicious, and there were many more butter barrels on the floor. "Meow," said General Washington. He swatted at the ruffle on Mercy's dress. "Yip," said Mercy. General Washington took a swipe at Mercy's tiara. "Yow," said Mercy. "The cat," said Mr. Watson. "The pig," said Eugenia Lincoln. "Oh dear," said Baby Lincoln. The cat ran out of the kitchen. The pig ran after him. It was a chase. Mercy loved a chase. Oh no, I wonder where this is going to end up. Chapter 10. General Washington ran. Mercy ran after General Washington. Eugenia ran after Mercy. Baby ran after Eugenia. Mr. Watson ran after Baby. Mrs. Watson ran after Mr. Watson. "Meow," said General Washington. "Oink," said Mercy. "Pig," said Eugenia. "Sister," said Baby. "Darling," said Mr. Watson. "Dear," said Mrs. Watson. General Washington ran through the living room and back into the kitchen. He ran out the open back door. Mercy was in hot pursuit. Her dress felt a bit snug, but it did not slow her down. She was having an excellent time. I think trick-or-treating's turning out pretty well for Mercy. Chapter 11. Frank and Stella are brother and sister. Frank and Stella live at 50 DeCailloux Drive. "Look at that," said Stella. "What is it?" asked Frank. "It's a Halloween parade," said Stella. Look, Stella is dressed up like a pig, probably inspired by Mercy, and Frank is pretending to be a doctor. "Stand back," said Frank. "It looks dangerous." "Wait for me," Stella shouted. "I want to be in the parade too." "Stella!" shouted Frank. "Stella!" Look, Stella wants to go have a good time. Chapter 12. General Washington raced to the end of DeCailloux Drive. He ran up the trunk of an old oak tree. Mercy stopped. Behind Mercy, Eugenia did not stop. Eugenia bumped into Mercy. Baby bumped into Eugenia. Mr. Watson bumped into Baby. Mrs. Watson bumped into Mr. Watson. Stella bumped into Mrs. Watson. And Frank bumped into Stella. They have a pile up down there. Mercy looked up at General Washington. She sighed. She sat down. The chase was over. Mercy was very tired. She was very hot. Her tiara was pinching her ears. Her pink dress felt terribly snug. And even porcine princesses cannot climb trees. Look, we have General Washington up in the tree looking down at Mercy because she can't get him. Chapter 13. "Well," said Stella, I guess the parade is over. Nothing is over, Eugenia Lincoln shouted. She stared up into the branches of the tree. General Washington, said Eugenia, come down here immediately. Do you think General Washington is going to come down? I had a cat that would climb trees, and my dad would have to put a ladder up to help it get down, because it could get up a tree, but it couldn't figure out how to get down. Meow, said General Washington. General Washington, said Eugenia, I will not take no for an answer. Meow, said General Washington. Cats don't usually do what you ask them to do, said Stella. Nonsense, said Eugenia. General Washington always obeys orders. I think the cat is stuck, said Frank. Nonsense, said Eugenia. General Washington is far too intelligent to get stuck. Eugenia called General Washington again and again and again, but General Washington would not move. I think, said Mr. Watson, it might be a good time to call the fire department. Chapter 14. At the fire station, the phone rang. Ned took the call. How's that? Said Ned. General Washington, said Ned. Stuck up a tree, said Ned. Right, said Ned. We're on our way. That was a strange call, Ned said to Lorenzo. Apparently, a general is stuck in a tree. Said Lorenzo. What's the address? Somewhere on Decawoo Drive, said Ned. Decawoo Drive, said Lorenzo. That is where the pig lives. Oh boy, said Ned. We'd better hurry. They're getting on their gear, going to save General Washington. Chapter 15. When Ned and Lorenzo got to Decawoo Drive, they saw a large oak tree. Underneath the oak tree was a pig in a pink dress with a tiara on her head. It is just as I suspected, said Lorenzo. There is that pig. Yes, said Ned, but where is General Washington? They don't realize General Washington is way up high on a branch. Thank goodness you are here, said Baby Lincoln. What took you so long? Said Eugenia. Eugenia is always a grump. Is that General Washington? Said Ned. He pointed to the gray cat high in the oak tree. Of course it is, said Eugenia Lincoln. Meow, said General Washington. Lorenzo got a ladder from the truck. He leaned the ladder against the tree. He climbed up the ladder. He reached out and grabbed hold of General Washington. He climbed down the ladder. He put General Washington into Eugenia's arms. Hooray! Everyone cheered. You can always count on the fire department, said Mr. Watson. That is what I say. And look, Eugenia is actually smiling. Oh, said Mrs. Watson, we should celebrate. We should have a party. Mercy pricked up her ears. Parties, in Mercy's experience, almost always involved toast. Chapter 16. Everyone was in the Watsons' kitchen. Everyone was gathered around the Watsons' table. Have you ever had the toast here? Lorenzo asked Stella. No, said Stella. You are in for a treat, said Ned. The toast here is excellent. Eating food at a stranger's house is potentially dangerous, said Frank. But we are not strangers, said Mrs. Watson. We are your neighbors. Meow, said General Washington. Bah, said Eugenia. Who needs neighbors? Oh, sister, said Baby. Here, have a butter barrel. Look, here's Baby giving Eugenia a butter barrel, hoping that Eugenia might improve her attitude. My darling, my dear, my porcine princess, said Mr. Watson. Aren't you glad you put on the pink dress? Mercy put her snout up in the air. She sniffed. Bread was toasting. Butter was melting. The pink dress was terribly snug, but it was worth it. Oink, said Mercy. Happy Halloween, my darling, said Mr. Watson. Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of Mercy Watson, Princess in Disguise. And today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to do a fall activity at the end of this book. And it is a simple, short fall activity. And all you need is a sheet of 9 by 12 white paper, a ruler, 3 to 4 crayons. I chose green, red, yellow, and orange for fall colors, and a marker. And what you will do is you will draw, and you need a pencil too. I forgot the pencil. You need to draw a fall scene on your paper in your pencil. Then you will trace over it with your Sharpie, and you will use your ruler to mark 3 inches and make a 3-inch grid all across your paper. And then where your lines meet, you will color each section separately. And this is how it will turn out. My children created one. This one is a picture of fall leaves. We have our grid, and we have everywhere the lines meet, you change colors. And this one is a pumpkin, and you see our grid that is outlined in the Sharpie, and everywhere that the lines meet, you change color, and you try not to let your colors touch. Like if you have blue here, then you don't want blue anywhere else around it. You want it to be different colors. I hope you enjoyed today's book, and I hope that you enjoyed the art activity, and maybe you can try it at your house. If you liked the book and the art activity, please give me a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Until next time.